Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to our Communicative English course. I am so happy to have you here. Today, we are not going to study boring, difficult grammar. We're going to learn how to use English in real life. और अगर आपको लगता है कि आपकी इंग्लिश वीक है, तो घबराने की बिल्कुल ज़रूरत नहीं है. Don't worry at all. We are starting right from the basics to build your confidence. Let's get started.
So, here is a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with a warm-up, figure out exactly what communication is, look at the different types, and see why it matters so much for you as teachers. Then we'll cover some classroom tips, fix common mistakes, and finish up with some practice. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, our welcome and warm-up. Before we dive in, let's look at our learning outcomes. आज की lesson में हम क्या सीखेंगे? By the end of this class, you will be able to explain what communication is, identify the different ways we communicate, and really understand why English communication matters so much for teachers. Let's start with a really simple scenario. Imagine a friend asks you, "How are you?" And you reply, "I am fine." Now, what just happened there? Did you speak? Yes. Did your friend understand you? Yes, for sure. Take a second to think about that. आपने अपने विचार और feelings share किए. Ideas and information were successfully shared between the two of you. Okay, moving on to section 2. Let's look at our core question. What exactly is communication? Let's look at a simple definition. Communication is the process of sharing information between two or more people. Let's focus on that word, communication. It means sharing what we know or feel. Simple words में communication मतलब दो या उससे ज़्यादा लोगों के बीच जानकारी बांटना. Good communication builds strong relationships. We use communication every single day. Now I want you to say this word out loud with me right now. Ready? Communication. Very good.
So the most important point is this simple equation. Communication equals sharing plus understanding. It is absolutely not just about speaking. अगर आप बोल रहे हैं पर दूसरा इंसान समझ नहीं पा रहा, तो communication fail हो गया है. If they don't understand, it doesn't work. Listening carefully and understanding the message are just as important as speaking the words.
Let's look at a really relatable example from home to make this concrete. Think about the first situation, success. Your mother says, "Bring water," and you bring water. The message was perfectly understood. But look at the second situation, failure. Your mother says, "Bring water," but you bring tea. The message was not understood, so the communication failed. Now that we know what communication is, let's move to section 3, the different types of communication. We don't just share ideas in one single way. There are mainly two types. The first is verbal communication. Verbal means we use words. बोलकर या लिखकर बात करना. So when you give a lecture in class or talk on the phone, you are using verbal communication. The second type is non-verbal communication. This is when we share a message without using any words at all. बिना शब्दों के अपनी बात समझाना. Like when you just smile at someone. Now, repeat these words after me. Verbal. Excellent. And non-verbal. Great job.
Let's look a bit closer at these non-verbal cues. These are things like your facial expressions, eye contact, hand movements, and even the tone of your voice. Just imagine this. A teacher enters the classroom, looks at the students, and gives a big, warm smile. The students immediately feel comfortable and happy. टीचर ने एक भी शब्द नहीं कहा, पर communication successfully हो गया. They communicated a feeling of welcome without a single word.
This brings us right to section 4, why communication matters. Why is this so incredibly crucial for you as future B.Ed teachers? Well, think about a teacher's daily tasks. Every day, you explain lessons, you ask questions, you motivate your students, and you give instructions. If your communication is poor, the students just become confused. एक अच्छे teacher के लिए clear communication बहुत ज़रूरी है. It is a must-have skill. Because when your communication is clear, your students learn better. Good communication literally creates a good classroom. Let's see what this looks like in a real classroom. Take a look at the good example first. The teacher says, open page 20. The students immediately open their books. Simple, right? That's good communication. Now look at the unclear example. The teacher says, complete this activity. The students are confused. They're looking around, asking, wait, what should we do? Hamesha yad rakhein. Always remember, clear and simple is always better when giving instructions to your students. All right, let's dive into section 5. Here, we're going to look at some practical classroom tips and a few common mistakes that we can easily fix. Now, a lot of learners have this massive misconception. They think that good English means using really difficult words or speaking very fast. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है. That is simply not true. The real truth is this. Good English means clear and simple words. Speaking fast does not mean you are a good communicator. Speaking clearly is what makes you a good communicator. So here are some highly effective tips you can use right away in your teaching practice. Speak slowly. Try to use short sentences. Make sure to look directly at your students. Smile. Listen carefully to their answers and always encourage them to ask questions. Remember, using simple, polite language makes every single student feel respected and valued in your classroom. And just like that, we are at section 6. It's time for a little practice and your home assignment to test out all this great new knowledge. Let's do a really quick interactive quiz. Question 1. Communication means A. Fighting, B. Sharing ideas, or C. Reading books. I'll pause for a second. आप अपना आंसर सोचिए. Okay, if you guessed B. Sharing ideas, you hit the nail on the head. You are absolutely correct. Let's try question 2. Which of these is an example of non-verbal communication? A. Smile, B. Telephone, or C. Essay? Take a quick guess. And the correct answer is A. A smile. Remember, you don't need to speak a single word to smile at someone. All right, our final quiz question for today. Which is more important, speaking only or speaking and listening? Think back to that simple equation we looked at earlier. The correct answer is speaking and listening. They are both absolutely essential for real communication. What a fantastic practice session. You guys did great. Let's just quickly summarize our core takeaways from today. Number 1, we learned what communication actually is. It's sharing ideas plus understanding them. 2, we explored why this matters so much for you as future teachers. 3, we looked at the difference between verbal and nonverbal communication. And finally, 4, we went over some practical tips on how to communicate better using clear, simple English. Now, here's a quick assignment for you to try at home. I want you to observe just one conversation in your house today. Kisi ki bhi baatcheet dhyan se sune. Just listen carefully. Then, I want you to write down the answers to these 4 simple steps. First, write down who spoke. Second, who listened. Third, was the message understood? And fourth, write down why or why not. This is a brilliant way to see how communication happens in everyday real life. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and congratulations on taking this big step to build your English confidence. I will see you in our very next lesson, where we are going to practice introducing ourselves in English. It's going to be fun. Until then, as you step out into your day, I want you to ask yourself one question. When you speak, is your message truly being understood? Keep practicing and have a fantastic day, everyone.